The most expensive thing you can buy with money is a life you cannot escape. Are you building a fortune, or just a more expensive cage? We work relentlessly to acquire the symbols of success, yet those very objects become the wardens of a prison we can never pause. You think you own the luxury car or the high-rise apartment. In reality, they own you. They force you to trade away the most precious hours of your life just to maintain the facade. If you stopped working tomorrow, how many days would your current lifestyle survive before it collapses? We willingly trade our inner peace for a loud, entirely hollow kind of wealth. It is time to strip away the psychological rules driving this machine. It is time to take our true freedom back. Rule 1. The submerged iceberg, the difference between money and wealth. Society teaches us how to spend like the wealthy, but never how they actually keep it. There is a fundamental difference between having money and true wealth. Having money is loud. It demands to be seen through designer clothes and supercars. True wealth is the invisible mass beneath the surface. It is the unspent cash, the quiet portfolios, and the freedom of future choices. Money simply shows your ability to spend in the present. Wealth is the accumulation of unexecuted decisions. Wealth is the absolute privilege of saying no. Many high earners use their income to purchase invisible cages, willingly enslaving themselves to a lifestyle they custom built. Consider an executive making hundreds of thousands of dollars, living in a sprawling home. It looks like the pinnacle of success. But if they cannot turn off their phone for a single weekend because the financial overhead of their life is too high, they are not wealthy. They are merely a highly compensated employee, trapped in an illusion of prosperity. When you upgrade your material life solely to buy the approval of others, you hand the control of your life directly over to the crowd. True wealth is not measured by the assets you can display. It is measured entirely by how long you can control your own time without looking at a balance sheet. Mimicking the visible spending of others blinds you to their invisible debt and internal emptiness. Spending money to prove you have money is financial suicide disguised as success. True freedom only begins when you shift your target. Stop chasing tangible status symbols. Start accumulating the intangible space of mental freedom. Desire a portfolio robust enough to give you absolute authority over when you wake up and who you work with. Money spent to prove its existence loses its value before it leaves your wallet. Wealth is always silent. It does not need an audience to prove it exists. Rule 2. The hedonic treadmill, the trap of lifestyle inflation. Face an uncomfortable truth. Most people are not looking for freedom. They are just demanding a more luxurious cage. Modern society operates on a dangerous illusion that progress is measured by material upgrades. This is the hedonic treadmill. Every financial milestone you reach is instantly neutralized by your brain's ability to normalize it. If your happiness depends on the next upgrade, you have already lost control. Lifestyle inflation recodes your entire reference point. Earning more automatically sets a higher baseline for satisfaction. Upgrading your car will not make you happier. It just makes it impossible to accept going back when things go wrong. Higher income stops providing security. Instead, it steepens the drop when you fall. You do not want a better life. You want a better camouflage for your misery. You do not own those luxury items. The fear of losing them owns you. Look around the room you are sitting in right now. Look at that expensive gadget gathering dust in the corner. A year ago, you swore it would make your life complete. Today, your brain completely ignores its existence to focus on the next target. The treadmill turns burning desire into total indifference in a heartbeat. Constant upgrading is a defense mechanism against internal emptiness. You tolerate a job you hate for 10 hours a day, just to fund a luxury vacation to escape it for a weekend. It is a financial suicide loop. You are funding a lifestyle that actively terrifies you. Endless desire does not create wealth. It creates permanent mental exhaustion. Rule 3. The nature of risk, paying fees instead of fines. Every high-stakes game comes with a price, but the highest costs in finance are never printed on a price tag. Building wealth requires facing volatility, fear, and uncertainty. The fatal flaw of the amateur is viewing losses as a fine, a punishment for a mistake. This triggers a defensive panic. They liquidate their positions the moment reality deviates from their perfect plan. Picture the reality. It is 2 a.m. You are staring at a screen, watching your portfolio drop 30%. Your heart races. In a wave of panic, you hit sell at the absolute bottom. You accept a massive loss just to stop the psychological pain. only to watch the market recover weeks later. The amateur treats this pain as a punishment that ends the game. They retreat into a false safety. Professionals use a completely different lens. They view volatility and losses as a fee, the non-negotiable cost of admission to wealth. The amateur asks how to never lose. The professional asks what the loss is teaching them. When you accept volatility as a fee, you handle losses with an eerie calmness. Wisdom requires payment. A market drawdown is not a punishment. It is an invoice for risk management. The market does not punish, it collects. Rule 4. The reversal of ownership, when assets become the new slave owners. Every object you buy levies an invisible tax on your time and mental bandwidth. You believe a larger house or a luxury collection serves your convenience. In reality, you are manually building your own prison maintenance system. Look at your life right now. If you cannot turn off your phone and disappear for 3 months without your financial system collapsing, you do not own your life. You do not own your assets. You manage your own captivity. Ownership morphs into slavery the exact moment it restricts your mobility. When you finance a luxury car to buy approval, you mortgage your peaceful Mondays to the bank. You cannot bear the thought of looking less spectacular. That fear forces you back into the grind to sustain the facade. Assets are no longer tools for freedom. They are invisible chains binding you to your desk, forcing you to liquidate your life just to service their overhead. True financial freedom is inherently lean. An overloaded life is a dangerous illusion of prosperity. You are bartering sovereignty over time for temporary status symbols. Excess possessions are financial anchor points designed to drown you. You do not truly own anything you cannot radically let go of. Rule 5. The invisible finish line, the psychological defense of enough. The most dangerous financial game is the one with no finish line. Most intelligent people accumulate wealth but never experience a single day of peace. They lack the ultimate psychological defense mechanism, knowing what is enough. Society runs on an algorithm that demands endless upward growth. If you fall into this trap, you will forever be a beggar on a throne. You keep chasing numbers because you are terrified of facing your own emptiness in the silence. Failing to define a stopping point is a fatal systemic error in life management. When you play a game with no exit condition, you are mathematically guaranteed to lose. You will eventually risk your health, your family, or your reputation for numbers you do not even need. Knowing enough is not laziness. It is the tactical retreat of a superior intellect. Contentment is a rational decision, not an emotional milestone. The moment you draw a clear finish line, your ambition changes. It shifts from an anxiety-driven battle for survival into a detached intellectual game. You work because you love the challenge, not to cover up your insecurities. Wealth without a finish line is just a slower form of execution. Rule 6. The ultimate metric, return on peace of mind. A positive net worth means nothing if your mind is bankrupt. Society calculates ROI to the decimal point but ignores the real cost. Checking your phone in a panic at 2 a.m. is not success. It is a bad trade. This is the transaction you have already made. Society audits your display, never your internal damage. You trade irreplaceable time and energy for numbers on a screen. This is a self-destructive loop disguised as achievement. You are destroying your sanity for numbers on a screen. That is the cost. Accumulating assets at the expense of peace is a systemic failure. True prosperity is the complete absence of anxiety when night falls. Money earned through internal panic is a negative interest debt. An asset is a liability if it costs you your sleep. This is not success. It is deferred collapse. This journey is not about rejecting material value. It is about acquiring the privilege of refusal, the power to say no to profitable degradation, the authority to walk away from a race you never needed to run. Strip away the status symbols and titles you spent decades buying. What is left inside you? If it is a hollow emptiness, you are not a master. You are an inmate in a cage you funded yourself. Freedom does not begin when you accumulate more. It begins when you decide what is enough. If you cannot sit in silence, your net worth is zero.